Chair, it's better be like this.
Agenda for the regular.
It's if you follow along,
Oh,
you'll continue.
on the back.
Yep, on the back.
I just want to write down how you did.
Of course.
Here, I put down. Okay, everybody ready for? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the first thing on the agenda is the oath of office.
Here's my oath. So I come around to you, or
You don't have to.
don't want to? Well, go ahead, we can do it this way.
Please repeat after me. I, Sarah Schick,
I, Sarah Schick,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of Township Supervisor
that I will discharge the duties of Township Supervisor
in West Vincent Township, Chester County,
in West Vincent Township, Chester County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Please sign this.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Notice I haven't polished a quick supervisor's signature yet. Thank you very much.
Madam Secretary.
Thank you.
And
thank
we have
you.
another one for Yvonne Evans. No?
Yep.
Oh,
Okay, we'll take it. Thank you very much.
You done it?
no, you're right, yeah.
Well, I
We
haven't
didn't
done
do
it
it, no, I
yet.
it was completed, okay.
I just have my little paper.
Okay, I have this.
Okay.
Please repeat after me. I, Yvonne Brownlee,
I, Yvonne Brownlee,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of tax collector in West Vincent Township,
of tax collector in West Vincent Township,
Chester County,
Chester County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Madam Secretary.
Okay, thank you.
Sign one.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
Next.
everyone. Thank you, Mike.
Next on the agenda is the election of a temporary chairperson.
I make a motion to appoint John Welco, Deputy Solicitor, as temporary chairperson.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Happy to accept. At this time, I'll take a motion for the election of temporary secretary until permanent appointment.
I make a motion to appoint John Welco, Deputy Solicitor, as temporary secretary.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Happy to accept that role as well. At this time, we'll take a motion to elect a chairperson for a permanent appointment. At this time, I'll take nominations for the role of chairperson.
I make a motion to appoint Mike Snyder, chairperson.
And I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can decline. I don't know.
By the role
I don't
of
think it works, though.
by the roll of 2-1. Mr. Snyder, congratulations for your role as chairperson. I will now turn the board meeting back over to you.
Okay, next is the election of vice chair.
I nominate Bernie Corus as vice chair.
Second. All those in favor?
Do you accept?
Aye? Yes.
Okay, aye.
Okay, moving on, we have a motion to adopt the 2020 appointments as follows. You want to split it up? Okay. Appointment of Arthur Miller Jr. as Planning Commission for a 4-year term to expire 12/31/23. Appointment of George Martin to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term to expire 12/31/23. Appointment of Kathy McDevitt to the Environmental Advisory Council for a term to expire on 12/31/22. Reappointment of Victoria Lombach to the Environmental Advisory Council for a 3-year term to expire 12/31/22. Reappointment of Judy Reinbold.
Jody.
Jody Reinbold to the Open Space Review Board for a 5-year term to expire 12/31/24. Reappointment of Ann Dreyer to the Zoning Hearing Board for a 5-year term to expire on 12/31/24. Appointment of Patricia Ra to the Zoning Hearing Board as an alternate for a 3-year term to expire 12/31/22.
Bill, why don't you take down these?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Where am I? Okay. Reappointment of Bill Dietrich and Bill Holderness to the Park and Rec Commission, both for a 5-year term to expire 12/31/24. Appointment of Ray Wagner to fill remaining Park and Rec Commission 1-year term to expire on 12/31/20. Appointment of Eugene Briggs to fill remaining Park and Rec Committee 2-year term to expire 12/31/21. Appointment of Kurt Reinbold and Darrell Brown to the Sustainability Committee, both to a 3-year term to expire 12/31/22. Reappointment of Tom Kowalski to the Sustainability Committee for a 3-year term to expire 12/31/22. Appointment of Carl Rockridge to the Historic Commission for a 5-year term to expire 12/31/24.
Next, appointments of the following: Township Solicitor, Hamburg, Rubin, Mullen, Maxwell, and Rubin, PC. Township Manager, Erica Batdorf. Zoning Officer, Cedarville Engineering Group. Building Code Officer, Arrow Consulting. Building Inspector, Richard Rachel. Treasurer, Michelle Hogarth. Township Secretary, Kathy Shalin. Code Enforcement Assistant, Jason Barron. Police Secretary, Ruth McVeigh. Payroll Clerk, Evolution, Inc. Tax Collectors, Berkheimer Associates and Keystone Collections Group. Tax Hearing Officers, Berkheim Associates and Keystone Collections Group. Engineer, Brian Kolakowski, PE for Arrow Consulting. Traffic Engineer, Carulio Associates, Inc. Roadmaster, Reggie Roy. Part-time Park Maintenance, that's still vacant. Animal Control, Gwen DeRee. Police Chief, Mike Swinninger. Emergency Management Director, James Gooding. Emergency Management Board Liaison, Rick Schneider. Depositories, S&T Bank, Pliget, and U.S. Bank. Voting Delegate to State Convention, Mike Schneider. Elections Auditor, Jane Altman, John Eldridge, Jamie McVicker. CPA and External Auditor, Barbicane, Thornton and Company. Vacancy Board Chairman, John Reeder. Open Records Officer, Erica Batdorf.
We keep going? Well, let you do that.
Thank you. Northern Federation Representatives, Manager Eric Batdorf. Sarah Schick, Board of Supervisor Representative, George Martin, Planning Commission Representative. Phoenixville Regional Planning Committee members, Board members Sarah Schick, Mike Snyder, alternate voting member, Manager Erica Batdorf, Julie Foster, Planning Commission member. Ag Security Board appointments and terms, one-year terms to expire December 31st. Kenneth Miller, Tom Olzanowski, Wheeler Amon, Harry Emery, Ray Nestorick, Board Chairman Bernie Corus. Want me to keep going with the meeting dates, or? Oh, wait, let's back up. There are two that our trustee solicitor pointed out. We would like to make a motion for the reappointment of Kathy Schillen as Township Secretary and reappointment of Michelle O'Reilly, how do you say it?
Aurelius.
Aurelius, as Township Treasurer. We skipped over them.
No,
On page one.
They were restated in the list.
I know, they were
So that-
restated.
Yeah.
But on page one,
Gotcha.
we skipped over. So, meeting schedule, motion two, do we need to vote on that motion before we start another one?
Which motion?
The first one, the starting at number 6,
There's a motion for appointment, so that is.
right, so we should vote on so I second that motion, item number 6, which is the motion to make those appointments we just read.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, aye. There is now a motion to adopt and approve the regular township meeting schedule as follows. Board of Supervisors meetings will be held on the third Monday of every month at 7 p.m. with the exception of January, which will have 2 meetings. If such meeting falls on a holiday, then the meeting shall be held on the following day. Workshop, first Monday of the month at 7 p.m. Board of Supervisors workshops will be held as needed. Please check the township calendar for updates. The dates are listed. I don't need to read them to you.
No, but you do have to make the motion, or somebody has to
Well,
make the motion.
we have to get through the rest of them first.
No, I mean the motion to adopt the regular township meeting schedule.
Right, but I think we want to get these read into the record too. Environmental Advisory Council, first Thursday of the month at 7. January's meeting is the second Thursday of the month. Open Space Advisory Board, fourth Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. Park and Rec, first Wednesday of the month at 7:30. January's meeting will be the second Wednesday this week. Planning Commission regular meeting, third Thursday of the month at 7:30, and workshop the second Thursday at 7:30. Sustainability Committee, third Thursday of the month at 7:30, and workshop the second Tuesday of the month at 7:30. Historical Commission, second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. I so move.
second. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Will there be no comments from the audience allowed, or questions?
Sure.
I'm just curious about changing the policy to 1 meeting a month. It wasn't that long ago, it was discussed, and Mike, you and John had said that you were opposed to 1 meeting, and Bernie said you were for 1 meeting. What happened? Because it's really an important thing to have access to the board more than once a month.
We've had so little need for 2 meetings a month. Plus, you had stated at that meeting that all the other surrounding communities
Many.
had 2 meetings.
Right.
And I went and did the research, and 20% do.
Yeah,
So
well,
it's not many, it's a few.
sorry. The reason I'm bringing it up is whether another municipality does or doesn't do it, the point of having a public discourse and these meetings is that the public can interact with the board. And if there's not a meeting, the public can't interact. Also, you can't pay bills but once a month, and to anyone who is doing business with the township, that's a little tough. If you're a small business, because you can't pay a bill till you've approved it.
30 days, right.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
30
but so now you're at a 60-day schedule. So for a small business, so I submit a bill, but I've got to get the bill in, and then you approve it. It could be done in 2 weeks, it could be done in 4 weeks.
Correct, the outside will be 4 weeks.
And then
Yeah,
it goes
30.
through, and then it goes through the process inside the township. So it's, my point is, it takes longer than 30 days to get paid sometimes, and it shouldn't have to. So if the board meets traditionally, as it has since the inception of the rules, twice a month, it's not an onerous burden on the board. You guys knew about it when you took the job. And if it's a short meeting, it's a short meeting. but the public has an opportunity to come in and hear things, discuss things with the board, bring things up, and feel like it's participatory, not isolation glass wall. The famous glass wall that used to be brought up by the zoning hearing chair years ago used to say there's a glass wall that separated the zoning hearing board from the public, which I always thought was really offensive to the public. So I'm just bringing up, I think you're isolating people, and I think it's important not to.
I can't argue with that. I guess when I was against it, it was because our meetings were 1, 2, maybe 3 hours long. It got to a point where they're 35 minutes long, and then Bernie's idea made sense to me.
I just think if
But I agree with your statement that if you have more than one meeting a month, it gives the public more opportunity to interact. That makes sense.
it's better to err on that side than the other side. I think to be available and not be needed is much better than to be not available and needed.
But then we need to be responsible for the residents' money. And when it comes to preparing for a meeting, it takes like 2 days for each one of the staff persons to come up to speed for the meeting,
Right?
plus having to stay after for the meetings too. So
Right.
we take that into consideration.
That is a civic cost, as government is a civic cost. I just think it's a bad precedent to set to shorten that, because the next thing will be, you're gonna wanna restrict how much people can talk in a meeting. You're gonna wanna restrict what they can talk about and shorten everyone's interaction with the government.
Well,
It's
I mean,
the slope that all municipalities go down once they cut the meeting schedule down. It's the public, they're a pain in the butt. We don't want to deal with that. That's the wrong.
Well, that wasn't the
message.
reason.
No,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it becomes,
I understand.
It's that appearance, Mike.
It has the
Bernie.
appearance, I
It's-
agree.
That's what I'm after, is the appearance. I know you're not trying to screw people out of something, but it's that appearance. Be available instead of not available.
Well, I think we're all available, anyway. I'm available. Anybody can call me anytime.
Do we-
Email me, doesn't matter.
Do we want to reconsider the schedule?
No.
Well, we know his answer, what about yours? So the workshop meetings, our plan is that if we're notified that a meeting is needed, would we conduct it as a formal meeting or as a workshop? If it's a workshop, we can have discussion but not make decisions,
Okay, well,
right?
I mean, we do have the workshop here
So-
for the first Monday.
How do we plan
So-
to use those?
Well, what we can do is start with having the workshop meetings. To enable people to come and talk about anything at that point, because it's not a schedule. And I like the workshop much better than this type of meeting.
If I may, your civic cost is now the same. Your preparation,
I don't
your
know if it would
staff.
be for the workshop, because a workshop, we're not paying bills. Okay, that's one. You guys don't have to have an agenda for the workshop, do you? You don't have to do any documentation, do
There
you?
would be an agenda.
Okay, a workshop, is
There would
it
be
same or
minutes,
less
though.
work than a meeting?
We would have to try it out, but if it's more presentation informative, that would be the conduct of the workshop.
Well, or it could be a workshop where we're here in case somebody has something they want to talk about, right? I mean, we could hold the meetings and leave it open, the agenda open for public comment. I mean, it could be that simple unless we had something to bring up at a workshop.
You would still have an agenda, you would still have minutes, you would still have a secretary because it's a public meeting. The board would meet, a workshop is a public meeting. By definition, it has to be a public meeting.
I do see it as a different level of preparation.
I would think it would be much less.
And
Much less on it, because we're not gonna put any of the normal stuff on it, on the agenda. We're not gonna be paying bills. We're not gonna have a treasurer's report. We're not gonna have a manager's report, police report. None of that's gonna take place on a workshop.
But they don't now, you do those once a month.
That's right.
No,
And they'll
you do
continue
those-
to stay once a month.
The reports are monthly, you just have 2 meetings, so the only difference is the ability to pay a bill and the ability to.
Well, no, the
act.
bills will still be taken care of. That won't be an issue. We ratify bills. So we can pay a bill at any time. And we do that now. I mean, if you look at our bills list, we're gonna have a fair amount of ratified bills, I'm guessing, right?
The
So-
idea is if you're gonna have that other meeting, if you're sort of walking around it, and I'm just wondering,
Well, I wanna handle the idea that the public can come and speak to us as a board. And that would be handled through a workshop. As far as business, regular business, that would be handled on the third Monday.
So the workshop would be, you are indeed going to have a workshop, you're going to gather for each workshop meeting, or you may?
I'm okay with that.
I'm
I'm
okay.
definitely okay with
So
that.
that's what I'm asking, what's the difference
Oh.
then?
Well, the difference is, it's a different type of meeting,
Okay,
okay? But it still gives the
if you're meeting,
residents.
you're meeting, that's terrific, as long as you're meeting and the public can get to you.
Right.
Without having to come find you at your house or chase you
Right.
down, that's what I'm getting at. It's
Okay.
the level of comfort that the public can come to you publicly.
And I understand that, and I agree with that.
Great, thank you, that's what
I appreciate that, Carl, because my concern about this idea was that just because we don't have an agenda item doesn't mean that
And
the
the
public
residents don't,
doesn't.
right.
So,
right.
so I think we could say that we need to give this plan a try with the workshops
Yes.
on the first Monday. And if it turns out that we are thwarted because we haven't published it as a regular meeting and we're not ready to make a decision, you know, if we find out that we really want to have it a formal meeting,
Well, we could do that at a later date, but I
Yeah,
mean,
we
right
can
now,
change
it's
it.
set that every Monday, first Monday of the month is for a workshop, unless we cancel it. So if we
And-
don't cancel it, it's a standing meeting.
right, and so, and you and I at least are making the plan that we will be here on that date and
Correct.
time to conduct a workshop.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we've done that one. Okay.
Motion to approve and set the amount. David Brown, thank you very much. Motion to approve and set the amount of the treasurer's bond in the amount of $2 million.
Second.
All those in favor? Or any questions? Okay, she started.
Motion to adopt resolution 1-220, establishing emergency services providers for West Vincent Township.
Second motion.
Any questions, comments?
We need
All
to
those in
read
favor?
what they are.
Aye.
Okay, I can keep going.
All right.
Motion to adopt resolution 2, 2020, establish the township manager's compensation at $115,689.60 per annum.
I'll second the motion.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye. Mileage rate reimbursement, I move that the township approve resolution 3-220 in the form presented, establishing the mileage reimbursement as 58 cents per mile following the federal guidelines for 2020.
Second motion.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye. Appointment of certified public accountant. Motion that the township approve resolution 4-220 in the form presented, appointing Warwick King Thornton and Company of 202 Bancroft Building, 3411 Silverside Road, Wilmington, Delaware 19810, a firm of certified public accountants to replace the elected auditors in accordance with section 917 of the second class township code, paragraph 53, 10917.
Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
More numbers. Motion to adopt resolution 5-2020, adopt West Vincent's fee schedule for 2020 in the form submitted to the West Vincent Township Board of Supervisors at the reorganization meeting, consisting of 7 pages, including sections for residential new construction, commercial new construction, general permits, fire code official fees, Board of Appeals fees, Board of Supervisors fees, printed township printed materials, miscellaneous fees, subdivision and land development fees, engineering and legal fees, land planner and traffic engineer fees, stormwater ordinance management fees with an electrical fees schedule attached, totaling 12 pages.
Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt resolution 6-2020, reappointment of Van Dyer to the zoning hearing board for a 5-year term expiring 12/31/24.
Second motion.
Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adopt resolution 7-2020, appointment of Patricia Rue to the zoning hearing board as alternate for a 3-year term to expire 12/31/22.
Second motion.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to close the reorg meeting and open up the regular meeting. I'd like to make an announcement, well, I'd like to call the meeting to order and make an announcement that we had an executive session January 2nd at 1 p.m. to discuss personnel. We also had an executive session January 6th at 6:30 p.m. to discuss personnel. The first thing on the regular meeting is the approval of minutes, December 16, 2019.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from December 16, 2019.
Second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstained, it's not particular part of it.
And next, we have the bills list.
I make a motion to approve the bills list from the current bills list.
It's number 17.
17.
That's fine.
Okay, bills list in the amount of $99,343.43.
A second.
Okay, and the 99,000 make up township bills of $76,438.84, reimbursable bills of $21,510.23, capital road bills of $659.96, and courts of Chester Springs sewer bills of $411.90, and liquid fuels of $322.50. And just so you know, Carl, the total ratified in the last, what was it, 2 weeks? 3 weeks, is $10,554.17. Any comments or questions? Yes, Brian?
First thing I noticed is it sounds like the mics are not working tonight. Maybe that's something going forward, we'll check early.
This one, yeah.
Is this, where's this on?
Mine is not working this evening.
Okay. Sweet
I
on
can
somebody.
project.
In my questions to Erica before the meeting about bills list items, one of the things that showed up is apparently there's a number of items that were paid out of petty cash, but they're not a bill list item as you know, it is itself. Is there some way that, you know, there could be an indication that this is an item that really wasn't a bill that we got from somebody, but it's something that was, petty cash was used to pay for it?
I can talk to the treasurer about it.
Okay.
Sure.
And, you know, following on to,
Well, I mean, I could always read that, because it's on the ratified. Well, is it always on the ratified?
Oh,
Yeah.
it would.
It would probably always be on the
Yeah,
ratified.
it would be.
So that was the Jaeger's Farm and Market for the Christmas tree.
Mike, you're wrong.
Well, that's what it says here.
Mike, I had the discussion. There's the bills from, I think, the Rite Aid Pharmacy, the Giant bill, and I think there may have been one more that I asked about and got that answer. That's why it elevated to me, because it showed up in the regular list as opposed to the ratified list. And even the ratified list has some stuff that shows up in the regular list too.
Well, it's always listed in the regular.
All of the ratified bills are
Are
on
on
the
here.
regular list,
Yeah.
because we're approving all of
Okay.
them.
Is
It's just
Giant
these were the
and
ones.
Rite Aid then in the ratified list? Because I did not go back and look at it.
Well, let's see where it is.
Giant Food Store is, let's
Is
write
Jaeger
it.
there?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Yes,
so it's
I
all-
know is there.
Well, all the
Giant
detail is there.
here.
Okay, I didn't recognize the convention at that point.
Yeah.
But I would ask that,
Yeah.
I'll talk to Michelle, just
Yeah,
to see if
sure,
there's
that's
like
fine.
an
To be
R,
clear, I have no issue with that.
like an R next to it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Ratified? Make
something
it easy.
Something similar like that.
I see the question.
The other one is that, you know, Carl raised the issue of people waiting around for payment. And some people offer a discount if you pay within 10 days, 15 days, whatever. And
Sure.
to go and try to take advantage of that when you've got only a singular meeting.
That will be handled through the ratified.
Let me
section.
finish.
Okay, sorry.
One of the things that you could kind of bump into is, okay, the treasurer's paying out this money without anyone looking at it. And it might be advisable, good idea, whatever, to set some level, if it's above, I'm gonna say $300, just picking out of the air, that one of the board of supervisors needs to go and be notified of it, and then the treasurer that reports in the QuickBooks goes and notifies. I talked to Sarah about this, she approved it. And I'm throwing out an idea so that people could go and be passed, be paid sooner, or we could take advantages of discounts. And you still have a supervisor going and saying, yes, that is good, as opposed to a simple staff member.
Okay, well, I have, there is a policy for township manager approval and department head approval that goes through me.
Okay.
And then, so anything on that ratified list would be, subject to my review. And then anything above, I think it's $4,000, I know it's $4,000.
$4,000.
And then the, any contracted service that is reoccurring would fall under that ratified. But beyond that, those bills aren't gonna be paid until they come to the board for the board meeting. So we do have
You've
that.
also gone and illuminated me in that I did not know that for ratified payment, you had to go and talk to it in
Oh,
advance.
certainly.
Fine.
Yeah.
I feel much better. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're up to the treasurer's report.
Hey, thank you. I'm sorry my mic is not working, but I can project okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to, come up. The treasurer's report for November 2019, we have that presented. The budget performance reports are issued for the month as well. Both reports are available on the website. A few things to note for this year. When we do our comparison to last year, as far as tax receipts for the year, November of 18, we had a significant amount of transfer taxes come in. So you'll note that taxes and tax receipts compared to year-to-date or monthly for November of 18 versus 19, there's a variance here. $238,000 of transfer taxes, good for the township, were received last year. We're on track with our real estate taxes. Transfer taxes are to budget. Earned income tax for the month of November, we saw a spike increase, which is really good. So we're looking at, in terms of looking at the budget for the end of the year, to hopefully come to budget, because that was a concern of the township. When we look at the bottom line, the revenues are on track for the year. As I said, we'll watch December. The expenses, a few things to note for the expenditures that were incurred in November. We had our open space debt service payment, our general fund obligation that was paid through the funds for that. Their larger expenses. The planning that we've done on the capital side, you will note that we had capital expenditures, $293,942 in November for the year. We'll have one more invoice through Burr Construction for the balance of the paving program, which will be reflected. Actually, it's not going to be in December. They had a final inspection, so that's going to be carried forward to 2020. And then on the third page, we have our account balances, our fund summary, which takes us to a total township balance, $10,447,327. That is all provided there. So that really reflects what we have received and what has been expended for the month. So you can see our financial standing. That's really what it is. And then the last page is our budget to actual summary by fund. As I said, in looking at the general fund, we are on track. As far as the year-to-date, our net income right now at the end of November is projected $438,000, or I should say projected, this is actual, but the projection for the end of the year should be positive. And then on the capital fund, we note our expenditures that are coming in, And the cash reserve that we have in the interest coming in is also reflected here. Open Space Fund, we're still accumulating our EIT. We have here the reflected expenditure that I noted on our debt service. Liquid Fuel Fund, we have expended what we needed to for the budget. We're just a tiny bit over due to some signal work out here at 401 and 100. And lastly, the sewer fund, we have a small amount here, and that's really for Ports of Chester Springs and the payments that have come in November. We're continuing to track that. And that is the treasurer's report for the month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions? Jamie?
Generally, this is a great report. Thank you for it. Unless I'm misunderstanding something, there's something clearly wrong on the expenditure summary in the 2018 columns. Just look at the bottom line and look above it pretty quickly. You can see that the numbers
Doesn't add.
don't add up. Both the November 2018 expenditures, the January to November 2018 expenditures, and year-to-date difference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very long.
All right, I'll go talk to,
Thanks.
21 million, scary.
What's up in the revenue, the unclassified operating revenues? What was that?
the unclassified operating revenue. We have a multitude of different things that come in as far as on the revenue side from different sources. So it's utility tax, we have cable franchise fees, all sorts of things, so.
Are you questioning the 2018?
No, it just, I don't know what it was, so it's just to go from $750,000 to 11,000. I just wondered if there was just an
Right.
obvious jump there, or obvious, something that jumped out at you is why there was so
Yeah.
much last year.
And this is also now reflecting the transfers that had been done last year.
Because it was
Or-
2018,
yes.
right. Yeah.
Transfer fees?
No, the transfer
No.
of money from
Between
one,
funds.
yeah, it
Okay.
caused all kinds of problems. And that's probably why everything's off.
The other thing,
Oh, I see, yeah, I see.
on the last page, just to pick one line, revenue, monthly budget amounts, is that, do you take the full budget amount and divide by 12 and make that the budget?
It depends on the
It
class
does.
or the account.
Okay.
Because things come in at different times.
Okay, so some months you expect more, so you.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, that's all I have.
Thanks. Any other comments, questions? All those in, oh, that was.
John?
Right.
No questions.
Yeah. Next, we have the manager's report. Erica.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. The elected auditors meeting will be held tomorrow, Tuesday, January 7th at 7 PM here at the Township Building. Other committee meetings, Parks and Recreation Commission will meet Wednesday, January 8th at 7:30 PM. And Environmental Advisory Council will meet Thursday, January 9th at 7 PM. The Board of Supervisors will meet Tuesday, January 21st, not Monday, at 7 PM for the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, although township offices will be open on Monday, regular time. A public hearing will be is scheduled for Tuesday, January 21st, during the Board of Supervisors meeting at 7 PM to review and consider adopting the agricultural security area application for Julie Foster and Jean Baptiste Brolé for the inclusion of their 10-acre property at 1682 Hilltop Road as part of the township's ASA. This proposal is on file with the township office. It did go through the planning commission now and the agricultural security area committee for review. The Sustainability Committee, in coordination with the Chester County Environmental Agricultural Coalition, are sponsoring the 4th annual Seed Swap event on Saturday, January 25th, 2020, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at the Township Building. This is a free event held on National Seed Swap Day, and it's where you can bring seeds, take seeds, exchange information, a lot of good ideas among budding gardeners and experienced growers in the community. The event provides an opportunity to grow food that is not typically sold in supermarkets and increase crop diversity. Refreshments will be provided. In the Building and Zoning Department, 15 permit applications were processed in the month of December. Our total for the year is 294 permits for 2019. In the Finance Department, our reports are complete for 2019. The auditing firm Barbicane Thornton & Company will be meeting with staff this week to begin the 2019 audit process. Additionally, S&T Bank has recently acquired D&B Financial. S&T Bank is expanding their operation in southeastern PA, and they have purchased the Loveways Corner branch in the township. So you'll see things change, and you'll see all our statements and everything are depository this evening. I switched over to S&T Bank. In the Public Works Department, the crew completed PA1 calls, cleared debris and inlets due to storms, and several road patches on Schoolhouse Lane, Kimberton Road, and Shady Lane. And planning for the 2020 road program is underway. The contractor, Reclaim, is now mobilized for the Brinko demolition project, and they have completed, they're starting with the fencing and putting in the erosion sediment controls, and demolition should begin next week. So we'll get that underway. Thank you.
Any questions for Erica?
Hey, Mark, just
Yes.
to follow on, Erica, you had mentioned some debris removed by the road crew. I think it was a year ago, there was a request for any ideas or, identification of dead trees, standing dead trees, dangers across the roads.
Yeah,
I had called in a couple, they're still standing, I didn't know
okay.
where that was going, if that's an active program. It used to be Rick Brown would be called out when the tree was identified, and they'd put a list together and come out and whack them all at the same time.
Yeah.
Cedar Mill Road, for example, has a
Right.
bunch of trees. There's a dead standing one at the old Zuber place on Hollow Road. I mean, this goes on, there's a bunch. I was just curious if there was an active program for that.
Well, in fact, we're starting that now, given the weather, and having a little bit freer time for the road crew to go out and do this. It's very important that property owners do take responsibility. We try and initiate them to take care of the trees that are on their property, but we need to come in and handle it because it is definitely a hazard and a concern.
Yeah, the ones in the
No
right of way
doubt.
of the township's trees, and
And
townships
they're-
on the hook.
Right.
There's no way around it, the township's on the hook, so.
It's quite the job, so
Yeah, that's why,
Yeah.
because I've said, a few of these have since fallen, and it's just a matter of time since somebody's gonna get.
Thank you.
I was involved with a guy who had a live line across his car a year ago in the fall on
Yeah.
Cedar Mill from a tree that was dead that came down. So it's just, that's why I bring it up, thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
I have a follow-on question on that. Is the township only responsible for trees in the right-of-way on township roads? And the
Yes.
state is on state law roads?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to know who I had it.
Okay, next is subdivision and development. Who wants to make the motion?
Do you want to make the motion and then invite Neil up? I make the motion to approve Hankin request for modification to the Weatherstone Town Center resolution of approval and settlement agreement for the Wawa sign height modification from 14.5 feet to 17 feet.
Second it?
Second motion.
I forgot to practice reading out loud.
Any comments, questions? Yes.
Just something I mentioned a while ago as well, and your attorney had made a comment and it stuck. The Wawa sign Wawa's not inside the original Weatherstone development, it's an appendix, it's an add-on later. The Wawa development, that was not part of the original Weatherstone. How it falls into the settlement agreement, I'm not sure, but the zoning for the price sign, I brought that up in the past, that the zoning hearing board was engaged and did make a decision on the Sunoco property. Sunoco came in and asked for LEDs for the price sign, and it was unanimous decline, because our zoning is very clear about LEDs. but Wawa has LED, and I brought it up, and Joe McGrory had said that the settlement agreement covered that, and the township had no say in that. But I remember thinking then and now that it doesn't preclude and preempt zoning. There's no way for the settlement agreement to preempt zoning, and our zoning is very clear about LEDs. They're not allowed. And yet they have an LED sign. I did bring that up before, and then now you're going to change the sign height, but yet it's a non-compliant LED sign. I'm curious about how that works. And then again, like DNB, that wasn't part of the original development at all, not even close. And here we are, so we're giving life and breath to something that was meant to be very limited in scope to settle a disagreement between the township and a developer. And now it's being used to walk this development out. So by amending or appending another parcel, are we going to then, conceivably, Hankin could walk up Lloyd Boy's Corner, right up the hill, as an example, I know it's extreme, by using the same development agreement, the settlement agreement. What's in the way? Those two parcels have nothing to do with the settlement agreement.
Well, that I'm not 100% sure.
They shouldn't, because it was,
Is
they were
TNB
done,
under the settlement agreement?
It is.
they
Yeah.
shouldn't have been.
Well, it always
Shouldn't have
was,
been
right?
amended.
It always was.
No, it wasn't.
It was, it just wasn't part of the original development.
Therefore, it can't
Under
be.
the settlement agreement, although that parcel was included in
In the
the
settlement agreement.
You included a parcel not owned by the party to the settlement agreement.
It was
for-
always owned by Hankin.
the property was in the settlement
It was
agreement.
owned by Hankin.
It was owned when it was for sale by the previous owner before the settlement agreement was agreed
Before
to.
No,
the-
they're
before the
talking
settlement,
about-
yes, the property was owned by
Yeah,
Hankin.
I
Neil,
don't-
would you want to come up and address
This,
it?
I don't remember this being
I
the case.
think
that
Neil's
this-
talking about the DNB property.
I think that's what he's asking about.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he's
And
also
why?
asking about the gas station
The gas
property.
station property, no, that was not part of the settlement agreement.
That was added.
That's what-
However, it was agreed by both Hankin and the township. We went through the appropriate process, all through public meetings, to add that parcel into the settlement agreement.
I researched that today because I had the question. I thought that, well, since the land trust had tried to buy it, I knew it was a separate parcel. And in May of 2018, when the previous board approved the changes to the commercial and residential density on the commercial area at Weatherstone, it was added to that resolution to add that parcel into the settlement agreement.
Which
It was
parcel?
The Wawa area.
Park
The
Lewis.
former Exxon site.
So the zoning doesn't apply in regards to the sign?
No, it does.
LEDs are excluded. It's clear.
The settlement agreement gives the ability for the township to modify zoning.
Since when is that legal?
It's contained within, it was approved by the judge, it was approved through the court, it's approved by the settlement agreement.
Okay,
So it sets a process for how to go, when there is a modification to the settlement plan, which Weatherstone is a settlement plan, it sets a process out for that. We followed that process, which gave the ability for the Board of Supervisors to modify and permit that sign.
so illustrative of my point that you can agree to waive zoning on something because you and the applicant decided to do that, but I can't do that with you.
Well, it's under, because it's under the settlement agreement.
No, I understand what they're saying, but the point is that settlement agreement was not intended to do that. It was for the original parcel. You've amended it, Neil, I get that.
The settlement agreement was very clear, and that's exactly what it was meant to do.
So you're saying it was meant to overcome our zoning ordinance?
It was
Yes.
meant to give the ability to do that, yes.
The ability.
So,
The board would have to
Agree.
agree to it. So it was, they were able to ask for that.
And
And
the previous board agreed to
yes,
it?
correct.
so we've granted this zoning variance via this arrangement, and now we're going to go back and again open it up because it wasn't done properly. When does this, I mean, if we're gonna change the sign height, something didn't work. Something didn't work. So I'm concerned that this is gonna continue.
So,
I'm
I
bothered
mean,
because.
they didn't have to come to us to raise this, the height of the sign.
Which they're asking you for.
But they didn't have to. What they did is when they graded down and put the sign on, it was too low. All they have to do is raise the grading and put the same sign on there, and
Why
it'll
would
be the
they
same height.
ask if they don't have to?
Because it would change the look of the property by raising that area up to road level and then put the sign on. It's
But if
cosmetic, I guess, I don't know.
If I don't need your permission, why would I spend the time and money to ask? It's,
Well,
I'm not, you don't.
Neil can answer that,
It
you
was
know.
rhetorical, Mike. The idea is, you get where I'm going with that.
Yes.
But the point with the sign is, my concern is now the validity of the ordinance. And Neil, it's not a personal thing, but you've got this LED, they're offensive to a lot of eyes. This is the beginning of the large offensive daylight, or, very bright signs out. I just am worried, this is a hole that was open. Now,
I agree.
Sunoco with a different owner.
And the fire company wants one, I guess Sunoco wants it, and in my opinion, the Route 100 should be allowed to have it,
Really?
yes. Now, not the offensive ones that show movies and change the ads,
But what should
but
it have?
well, like the Wawa, just a place where they can key in the different prices. Same thing with Sunoco, same thing with the firehouse, to be able to just key in their activities or what they're gonna do that week.
If I could just make a point, go past the Ridge Fire Company in the evening, during the day, go past the Ridge Fire Company, but especially in the evening, as an example, or Twin Valleys Fire Company, and just see their sign, dusk or after dark. It's very bright, it's very distracting for drivers, not to mention a lot of light pollution, but it's not a safe sign to drive by.
Okay, I don't know, I mean, I don't know
I'm
the
just
signs.
throwing that out there.
But what I'm saying is, what do you think about the Wawa sign?
I think if you can hold to that
Right,
line,
well, yeah, and that's what we would have to do. We should
What
have
is
a sign ordinance.
you have
that's-
one.
We do
that
have one.
you
Well, I
have-
know, but it needs to be updated for people in the
Well, the
commercial
only thing you
area.
need to change is for the price sign. It was enforceable now. It's been enforced.
And it's still enforceable
And
at
it's
this
actually
point.
been used for neighboring municipalities to defend themselves,
Right.
our ordinance. So my point is, it's a slippery slope, is once you open that door, because they're really aggressive. Those sign companies are very aggressive.
Yes,
So that's my point.
and we should address that at some point. We have to address that.
As a side issue, because I think you're headed towards billboards.
Right.
Fortunately, we're part of the Phoenixville Regional Planning Community, and they have had Charlestown denied a billboard, and it was upheld because of our regional plan. So we have some protection from the big billboards, we may not from everything. And yes, Neil knows, I'm hoping pretty soon everything's calm and he never has to come in and mention settlement agreement again.
I'm sure he knows that too. Okay, any other comments?
So Neil, there were some, do we have a copy of the recommendation from the planning commission?
That's in the motion.
It's in the motion.
Okay, deep in the motion.
It is in the-
Okay.
The motion reflects the recommendation.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
so
right.
that, right there. So there had been other requests of ways to accommodate this, and what you ended up with was the idea that what are now short poles on the sign will become 3 foot taller, so it's essentially just boosting the sign up.
Well, 1.5 foot, right?
2.5,
Two
we're
and a half.
14.5, yes, to 7.
So but it's just making those pillars taller.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for your comments, Carl.
Okay, next one.
This one.
21.
21.
I make a motion to approve the hanging request for proposed modifications to the S&T bank signs with a caveat that consideration shall be given to dimming the lighted signs when the bank is not in operation.
And I think it was more than
I'll
dimming,
second.
it was to turn them off. To have,
Oh,
when
I
it's.
mean, it does say that,
it
when
says-
oh,
Yeah.
dimming, right,
Dimming.
okay.
I think it was a recommendation that they not be lit at night. Do you have any?
Again, we don't, I mean, see, okay, this motion does not, or I don't know what happened at this went through the planning commission?
Yes. And
Did
that's their
they
recommendation.
discuss the dimming number?
Yeah.
So just a,
Yeah.
why don't I just give a real brief kind of recap. So, as Erica mentioned, S&T Bank purchased the D&B Bank. So what S&T is wanting to do is come in and put up their signs, basically reface in some areas, replace in other areas, basically, remove the D&B, put in the S&T Bank, right? There are additional signs, it's like, for instance, ATM, and directing people where to go for the ATM to make sure that those are, and that's actually one that probably we would not want to have, or I should say S&T would not want to have dimmed at night. They want to be able to direct people for that. But the other ones, there we go. Are you with S&T or the sign company? S&T.
S&T.
Excellent. And what are your hours of operation?
Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4, Fridays 8 to 6, and Saturday 9 to 12.
Okay,
The
and
ATMs are 24 hours.
Could you give your name for a second?
Steve Smith, S&T Bank.
Paul Sekula, Sekula Sign Corporation, we're the sign contractor for S&T.
And Steve, what would be your desired lighting for the signs? When would you want to turn them off at night?
Our signs, they are dimmer than the existing signs that are there today. In a lot of locations, we keep them on 24 hours a day. Some do require, we have timers on some that they go off at a certain time of night, but I wouldn't, just because the bank is closed at 4 o'clock, I don't want to turn well, we'd never turn them on. I would like the signs on so that they know the ATM is still available.
Does D&B have their signs on all night long?
Right now, they are on all the time.
Okay, and yours are gonna be dimmer?
They are dimmer than the existing signs,
Okay, so there's a plus.
yes.
They're a much bulkier base. Your sign number 3 says that it's non-illuminated anyway, so,
That's a directional sign, yeah.
right, and that's the directional
Yeah.
sign that I thought you were referring to earlier to say we want to make sure people can find the ATM.
That's correct.
So, which are the ones you want to keep illuminated, the ones on 401 and 100?
Correct. Correct.
The signs direct you into the property,
The pilot signs.
correct. Our signs are much, with the blues and the grays, it's a much more muted look than what's there today, with the white lettering.
I have some photographs of of a typical S&T Bank sign that I can show you that could illustrate that.
We have
The board has them.
We have them in our.
You have those?
We,
Okay.
we have the notion of what it would look like at the
Right.
DNB property. We don't have what it looks like at an actual bank. Is that what you've got?
That's correct. The sign that's there now,
So do you have
is
something
is
different?
internally lighted, the whole background lights up.
Right.
It's 5 feet by 5 feet, it's 25 square feet. The whole background lights up, it's burgundy with white letters. The S&T Bank sign is a little bit smaller. It's 3 feet by 8 feet, 24 square feet, even though it's a different configuration. But the only thing that lights up are the letters. And as a square footage amount, it's about 12 square feet that illuminates, compared to 25 square feet on the other side. The fluorescent sign illuminates, or the existing sign illuminates with fluorescent lamps, which is typically how signs were illuminated then. The S&T Bank signs are illuminated with LEDs inside the sign. You don't see the LEDs. It's hard to compare the lumens of an LED to a fluorescent bulb. It's kind of like apples to pears. But at any rate, the amount of lumens from a typical 5 foot, or for a typical lamp, fluorescent lamp, in our sign is about 2,750 lumens. The fluorescent lamp of the same size is about 4,750 lumens. But again, it illuminates all the way around, and It's just difficult to compare the two. But we're interested in the sign being evenly illuminated and transmitting through the letters.
There are a
Thank you.
couple of members of the planning commission here. Would you like to hear their thoughts on the dimming of
If
the
they, I mean,
lights?
I asked if anybody had comments, if they want to speak, they can. Don't see
I
any.
think he did a pretty good job.
Yes,
explaining
he
it.
did.
And he unfortunately wasn't at the planning commission. I think he could have saved some time there too.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Next, we have new business.
Oh, that's empty, because that's mine. I would like to make a motion as...
Thank you.
Thank you. As is my right as a newly elected supervisor to reopen the 2020 budget for review. The requirement is that we finish reviewing any adjustments in time to do the proper advertising and hearing before the 15th of February. So it's just a short amount of time for me to get a good solid appreciation of it and see if there's things I'd like to see differently.
I'll second the motion.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
What do you want to change? Amend.
I'll tell you when we do that public hearing. You'll see it when it gets advertised.
Okay.
I have some ideas, but I have to work through it. Thank you.
all those in favor?
We did that. Aye.
No, well, he said I didn't hear you.
I said
All
aye.
right, aye.
Okay.
Stop.
The
Next
second item says police contract negotiations, and this is a reiteration of the request I had made at the middle of December meeting, that we try to avoid the big expenses of arbitration by sitting down with the police department, the police union again before we get that far. And it looks like we're making some progress, and that's all I can say, because it's now a contractual legal matter. So,
Okay.
so I essentially achieved what I wanted to there.
Next, we have public comment on non-agenda items. Anybody? John?
Maybe. On your workshop meeting, I'll probably come and say we should discuss the municipal service or municipal business tax. Some townships do it, Berkheimer collects it for them, and what it is 1 mil on revenue of the businesses, which would be on Wawa.
You want to add a tax?
I'd add a tax.
And at which meeting do you propose to propose that?
Right?
At which meeting do you propose to bring that up?
At the
auditor-
workshop. I'll start at the workshop.
The workshop, cool.
So.
We'll see you then.
Okay.
Think about it.
Sounds good.
Excuse me, John, would that apply to, let's say, if I was a contractor who lived in the township here and I worked out of my garage, would that apply to me also?
I don't know whether it applies to if you would do a Schedule C type business out of your garage.
Or if I was an artist and
But if
my
you have-
primary studio was here, would that apply to me
It
also?
should apply to everybody, otherwise it wouldn't be fair. Because it's 1 mil on revenue.
Yes.
Well,
So whatever the revenue is.
So I
Well,
think by the
It would have to be
time,
business revenue.
Business revenues, from what I've read, it didn't really go down to the home business people. I mean, I file a Schedule C, I would not expect to pay the mill, but 1 mil on my $10,000 might be $10. I don't know, it's sort of a small tax.
Well,
But for a
depending on the
Wawa,
business.
so
it's a big, it's.
Right.
before the workshop, we'll have time to learn a little
Research.
more about how it's applied in other municipalities.
Aren't we already well-funded here? Don't we have enough taxes? We haven't raised taxes in years? Aren't
You
we
you
at a
must come
nice-
to the workshop.
We're at a
Carl.
nice balance. I
Yeah,
think we-
Come
because
to the workshop.
I pay property taxes, if they got reduced, I'd be happy.
You don't pay much in township property
No,
taxes.
you don't. It's school.
You pay school taxes. You don't pay much in township taxes.
Well, I have, the school taxes you can't change, that 0.5%. I don't think we can change because the school,
You can't.
there's some funny laws there. The property tax millage, which for me is, I don't know, $600 a year or something.
Right.
Some town, like in South Coventry, the millage, they pay I would pay $150 there.
Well, we used to pay $150 to $200, but then we had the open space done, and
Now,
that's.
the open
raised it.
space is 1/4%.
No, that was
Something
not,
else.
that's not how it started though.
And you can't, okay.
It wasn't started as an income tax. It became an income tax in 2000, I forget.
And we have a police department, we have a well-funded fire company. South Coventry doesn't have all of that, and they
Yes.
wish, the residents wish they did, or a lot of them do. We have services here, they're well-funded, the township's well-managed with our finances. We don't need more tax revenue from new streams. We are doing just fine now, I think. Why would you want to do that? It just,
Maybe we're providing services to the Wallow, police services. We bring,
It's
every
recouped in the
meeting, we
property
bring all this
value.
stuff up.
it's recouped in their property value. Wawa's assessed very high, we get a
Okay.
lot of money back in property value.
And we also get income,
Right,
income tax money.
from anybody who's in the township.
Right. Or, well, it depends if they have a higher rate here than they do there, then we get some of that, so whatever.
That's, well,
Yeah. Any other, yes?
I would like to, again, have the support of the Board of Supervisors for protecting the amphibian crossings, the migration. Last year, we missed it entirely, but we'd like to try again to protect them this year. And the police have been very cooperative, but I want you folks to give your blessing.
Go for it. Have fun.
Do we need a motion or just say thank you very much for taking care of the amphibians?
Any other comments, questions?
Thank you. I'll give you a
Motion
report.
to,
Make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
all in favor? Aye.
Oh, it's
I'm cutting down.